Governor Cox announces some big changes to mask requirements here in Utah.
Getting out of a pandemic is almost as messy as getting into a pandemic, right?
Now at 5, what was behind the decision?
I would encourage every parent to send their child to school in a mask.
But is now the right time?
My kids will wear masks till the end of the year.
The mixed reaction to masks ending in schools.
It's been a hot spring day here across the state. Some pop-up showers are developing, plus La Nina is coming to an end. What you can expect for the next couple days and the main impacts here on Utah heading into the summer coming up.
Legislators do respond to their constituents. So let's make sure that constituents are being heard.
Your elected lawmakers are going to spend $1.5 billion on some big things.
Anyone can be affected.
A major drug takedown in Utah. What drugs were taken off of the streets and how much? Coming up.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13's Live at 5 starts right now.
I'm excited to announce that because of the low case rates and the way that things are improving here in the state of Utah, we will be ending the statewide mask mandate for school children for the last week of school.
Now at 5, new developments today, and each one is promising in Utah's return to normal. Masks in many schools will soon be gone. Utah children are starting to get the vaccine, and word today from the CDC that masks indoors are no longer required for people who are fully vaccinated. Good evening. I'm Kelly Chapman.
And I'm Bob Evans. Let's start with the schools, since that impacts hundreds of thousands of students and parents. The governor says the state is dropping the mask mandate for the last week of the school year, but individual schools and districts can still require masks. Governor Cox says he lifted the mandate because of declining cases and requests from superintendents.
We believe that this is the right thing to do. We believe that this is the prudent thing to do. But I will say that masks are still encouraged, and families and children will be able to make those decisions.
We do have team coverage this evening with reaction to the governor's announcement, as well as news from the CDC.
We start with Fox 13 Spencer Joseph live at West High School in Salt Lake City. Spencer.
Yeah, good afternoon, Bob. And it really is one of these things where so many people are going through this and checking how they feel about it. I've talked with physicians, parents, the advocacy group Utah Parents United, as well as politicians, and all of them have different messages about how they feel about this latest move.
There will be no statewide requirement for masks in schools that last week.
The controversial decision coming from the governor's office Thursday. Masks will no longer be required in K-12 schools on the last week of the school year.
So give kids an opportunity to see their teachers, to see their friends, to spend that last week together without masks if they so choose.
The governor says now is the time, citing low case counts as well as expert opinions and superintendents across the state.
I mean, getting out of a pandemic is almost as messy as getting into a pandemic, right? There's no exact timing. No one knows when the right time is.
I think the most attractive aspect from a medical perspective is that while it's the release of a mandate, it in no way mandates that children should not wear masks.
Dr. Jacobson with the University of Utah weighed in, saying that he is still encouraging everyone to wear masks if they feel comfortable, as well as to get vaccinated, especially those that are in the 12 to 15 age range now eligible.
If that were going on, I think I'd feel even better about this step.
We're disappointed that the action wasn't taken to remove masks immediately.
While she has mixed feelings about the announcement, Corinne Johnson with Utah Parents United feels pressure from her group helped make it happen.
Parents have been very vocal for the last couple of months that they want the ability to make health decisions for their children.
And one such parent who has been very vocal about it is Mike Brown.
I'm glad he's lifted it, even though he's, a half-hearted measure, the last week of school, and the pressure's going to stay on him to do the right thing.
Yeah, every one of these decisions is unpopular, but at some point we have to move out of this, and some will disagree, but I think the majority would agree that we're hitting that at about the right spot.
In closing, Dr. Michelle Hoffman, Deputy Director of the Utah Department of Health, shared her thoughts.
He listened to all stakeholders. I had an opportunity to weigh in. As a pediatrician, I would encourage every parent to send their child to school in a mask.
And now safety will more than ever be up to the individual.
Let's let our children witness that we can all do this together. Let's not use them as instruments either.
So now this goes down to the districts themselves. If they do nothing, if they put forth no further action, then the mask mandate will end on each respective ends of their school dates. But the districts do have the right to come up with their own mask mandate if they want to continue that through the last week of school. Live at West High School, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Spencer, thank you. Parents and students around the state learned the news about the mask requirement being lifted just as school was getting out this afternoon.
Lauren Steinbrecher right now at West Jordan Middle School, where people have been talking about the announcement. Lauren?
Yeah, Kelly and Bob, so people actually really didn't even know about the announcement, couldn't even really talk about it until I told them. They just hadn't heard about it yet when school was getting out. So when I was asking them, I was getting some initial first reactions, a little bit mixed, but the Jordan School District decided less than an hour ago that they are going to go with the governor's order, which means no masks for that last week. Now, some parents say, hey, that's awesome, and if the state and the district are on board with that, then they are too. Others say it doesn't matter what the district decides. They still think it's a little weird. It's a little shocking to have this news come, and they still want their kids to keep those masks on to finish out the year.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I know the kid would be. He'd be like, yes.
My kids will wear masks till the end of the year. I've already warned them and told them, so that will be what we do.
Especially my mom says that I'll wear it, then I'll wear it.
So if mom says to wear it, you'll listen to her?
Yeah.
Now, students tell me it would be nice to see their classmates and friends full face, not just from the eyes up, even if it is for the last week. But for them, it really is a sign of next year, which they've all been looking toward, and they really hope that next fall masks will be gone for good. Now, the Jordan School District says that no mask will carry out to graduation, so people don't have to wear masks at graduation, but they add that anybody who still wants to wear a mask, whether it's at school or at those events, may still do so. Live in West Jordan, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Fox 13 has reached out to Utah's 41 school districts. We have heard back from a few. Alpine, Davis, and Salt Lake City school districts say they are still reviewing their plans. Canyons district will stop requiring masks the week of May 24th. That is the last week of school. Granite and Jordan districts will lift requirements the week of June 1st. And Washington school district, they said they already dropped the requirement back on May 7th.
And for now, after a year of hard work and so much sacrifice, the rule is very simple. Get vaccinated or wear a mask until you do.
Today marks a big moment, more than a year in the making. The Centers for Disease Control is now changing its mask policies. If you are fully vaccinated against COVID-19, you can now return to life without masks. However, there are still some limitations.
We still have the requirement to wear masks when you travel on buses, trains, and other forms of public transportation. And we are, as well as airports and stations.
It's the director of the CDC there. Dr. Anthony Fauci emphasizes today's announcement is just a recommendation. And if you decide to go without a mask, it's your own personal choice. As these big changes come from the CDC, 11,000 more Utahns are now fully vaccinated. The total now stands at more than 1 million. More than 2,300,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine have been administered in Utah so far.
Today was the first day 12 to 15-year-olds in Utah could get the vaccine. We went to the Legacy Event Center in Farmington, where no appointment was necessary. You just got your vaccine, your first shot. How did it feel?
Just like any other shot, like a flu shot. It's just in and then it's done.
What made you decide to come and get it today?
I really don't want to get COVID, so.
What made you decide to come and get the shot today?
Well, I was just in school and I didn't want to be in school anymore. So I texted my mom. I was like, you can check me out.
Because I wanted a vaccine.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm sick of masks.
Yeah. Because I think everybody should get one to help everybody out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to make everything safer.
Are you nervous about it?
Not really, no.
Dad, are you concerned about side effects at all?
I'm not. I feel like I've paid attention enough.
Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever had a vaccine before?
2, 3. No.
Okay, well, she's going to poke it in a minute.
Oh, she hasn't poked it in yet?
No, not yet.
Yeah, she did.
Yes, she did.
Now you're bleeding everywhere.
Oh, no. Get a tourniquet. Quick, somebody. By 1 this afternoon, they had administered 120 vaccines to those in the 12 to 15 age group at the Legacy Event Center in Farmington. They expected that number will grow through the afternoon as school gets out, and also tomorrow and Saturday when the kids are out of school.
418 new cases of COVID-19 were reported in Utah today. 6 more Utahns have died. 3 of those deaths happened at least a month ago. Our 7-day positivity rate is up slightly, now at 6.7%.
I looked on the car thermometer, our temperature gauge today, 80 degrees out there.
A hot day today, hot day again tomorrow. Still be warm this weekend, but not as hot as Thursday and Friday. So today and tomorrow. Right now it's 83 here in Salt Lake, 81 for Provo, 81 up in Ogden, 77 in Logan currently, and St. George a balmy 92 degrees. So it is hot here across the state. We have a lot of sunshine expected at times over the next couple of days. However, afternoons we'll see some more clouds, just passing clouds at times heading into the next week really. But for this afternoon, down towards Capitol Reef, from Delta over towards Ely, and then up towards Wendover and near Bear Lake. That's where we're seeing some spotty light showers currently. I am going to track the chance for some thunderstorms to develop this upcoming weekend, though, which could lead to some very gusty winds, plus potentially areas of blowing dust. But the rest of the night here in Salt Lake will be in the 70s and 80s through about 9-10 o'clock tonight, and then we're back into the 60s. And then I'm also tracking La Nina that's ending. So what that means for our summer here across Utah and the rest of the country coming up in the full forecast.
Thank you, Allison. President Biden talks about the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack, what he's saying about Russia's role in it, and when the ripple effect on gas stations across the country will subside.
Plus, a number of law enforcement agencies take down a drug trafficking ring. Hear about how big this operation between Utah and Mexico really was.
In national news, relief is in sight across the southeast for those dealing with major gas shortages.
The Colonial Pipeline now back online after a 6-day shutdown. It was caused by a cyber attack. As Isabella Rosales reports from Washington, it will still be a few days until the gas supply gets back to normal.
The more than 5,500-mile Colonial Pipeline, supplying nearly half of all fuel to the East Coast, now back online.
Fuel is beginning to flow.
President Joe Biden praising progress made in getting the pipeline restarted following a ransomware cyber attack. But gas shortages and ultra-long lines at the pump not over yet.
But I want to be clear, we'll not feel the effects at the pump immediately. This is not like flicking on a light switch.
Officials warning it will take a few more days for service to return to normal.
Product is moving, but it moves slowly, about 5 miles an hour in some cases.
A ripple effect seen along the East Coast and throughout the Southeast. Some drivers still facing major gas outages Thursday. Officials blaming public panic.
Just be patient and wait because panic buying can worsen shortages.
In North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia, more than half of gas stations are without fuel. If drivers are lucky enough to find any.
I only pumped 24 cents before the thing shut off.
6 gallons of gas for $35. That's absolutely ridiculous.
AAA reporting the national average for a gallon of gas jumping to $3, the highest since 2014. And gas experts believe by busy Memorial Day weekend, the gas headache will be mostly over. In Washington, I'm Isabel Rosales.
Well, surprise numbers today show a much better job picture nationally than we saw last week. In Utah, the pretty picture has some blurry corners. We'll show you.
There is good news about Utah's economic health. The University of Utah's Kem C. Gardner Institute and the Salt Lake Chamber have updated their economic recovery roadmap. It finds unemployment is below 3%, job growth is up 0.9%. Consumer confidence in Utah is also at 96.4, which is above the national level of 84.9%. These are all considered positive signs for Utah's economy. Now, the good news is not just in Utah, however.
No, it isn't. The U.S. Labor Department Department reported the lowest number of initial unemployment claims today since the start of the pandemic. Fox 13's Max Roth joins us with a look at the numbers and what it might mean as the governor winds down federal pandemic assistance. Max?
Yeah, Bob and Kelly, you know, it was March 14th of 2020 when the last unemployment insurance report was lower than it was just last week. An especially encouraging number after lower than expected job growth last month.
Nationally, 473,000 Americans filed for new unemployment benefits for the week ending May 8th. That's a 14-month low. 3,341 Utahns filed for the first time. That's down over the previous week, but not a historic low. And as of May 8th, just over 31,000 Utahns filed first-time or continuing claims for all types of unemployment benefits. 1 year ago, that number was 146,000 Utahns filing some form of claim. Today, Governor Spencer Cox defended his decision to end federal unemployment programs tied to the pandemic.
And again, there are 3 to 5 jobs available for every one person who will be whose benefits will be ending in the 1st of July.
If benefits ended today, there would be 1.8 to 2.5 jobs for every person on unemployment. Still good odds. Of course, Utah is too big to be one job market. Unemployed in Cache County, you're in luck. 2.2% unemployment. In Uinta County, it's tough luck at 6.7%. If you're on the Wasatch Front, lots of jobs in commuting distance. If you live in Blanding in San Juan County, Carbon is the nearest county with unemployment below 5%, and Price is a long commute. Still, the governor's ultimatum is the end of June, and things could turn around by then. The southeast Utah counties of Grand, San Juan, and Wayne are outdoor wonderlands, certain to see more travelers this summer than last.
And you look at the Uinta Basin, you know, most of us groan at gas prices when they get as high as they are. But that's actually good for Uinta and Duchesne counties. Their crude is hard and expensive to get out of the ground. It's really not worth pumping when gas is too cheap. Live in studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Max, thank you. Boating and fishing in Utah might be terrible this year because of drought conditions. The Division of Wildlife Resources is warning that water levels at some lakes and reservoirs might be so low by July that boat ramps won't be functional. Fishing will also not be as good. With lower water levels, a lot of fish may die. They're urging people to do more catch and release this year.
Today would be a really nice day to go fishing. If you don't get any fish, you'll certainly get the vitamin D outside.
Yes, absolutely. Like they always say, a bad day of fishing is better than a good day of work. So here in Salt Lake City, I do love my job, but yes, fishing sounds fantastic right now. And it's 83 degrees, just being out on that water sounds so nice. Now we do have our wind gusting about 20 miles per hour. So that's something to keep in mind this afternoon. Might be good kite weather actually for the evening if you want to head out to the park. There's a fun activity idea for the kids or adults. Temperatures here across the state currently, it's about 70 to 80 here across Utah. It's quite a bit warmer than this time 24 hours ago. You'll notice it's about 10 degrees warmer for most of the state right now. We are hot here across Utah. We've been warming up all week long. Tomorrow's also going to be a hot day, and we'll have unsettled weather this weekend for a lot of our 7-day forecast, actually, the chance for afternoon showers and thunderstorms. And then we're going to have some blowing dust possible this upcoming weekend on Saturday. Could even see, we'll definitely have fire warnings, and then could even see some microbursts on Saturday and some thunderstorms that develop, especially near the Bear Lake area. And La Nina has ended, so coming up later in the hour, I'll let you know what that means for our weather pattern heading into this upcoming summer. But satellite and radar right now here across the state. We had sunshine this morning, a few clouds out there right now, though. Capitol Reef, and then from Delta over towards Ely up through Wendover, that's where we have some scattered showers currently. But fire warnings have been posted for Friday and Saturday across far southern Utah. So all the areas of hot pink, essentially Lake Powell all the way through Zion and over towards the Nevada border, that's where we're going to have those fire warnings this upcoming weekend. Now for tomorrow, our storm threat here across the country. There is a level 1 threat off to our east. That's the darker green that you're seeing. But all of this mint green that you're seeing, that does include northeastern Utah and northern Utah and up towards Idaho and Wyoming. That all is just a thunderstorm category. So the possibility of some thunderstorms here across the region tomorrow. Partly cloudy tonight, 57 degrees, and for tomorrow, a high of 82 degrees here in Salt Lake City. So it'll be another hot day tomorrow. As we look at our forecast, though, on Futurecast here, we're going to keep that chance for some spotty showers overnight, and then heading into tomorrow, same thing. We'll have that some spotty showers developing, especially up towards the Idaho border heading into tomorrow afternoon. So first thing tomorrow morning, around 50 to 60 highs tomorrow. Will be around 70 to 85 degrees here across the state. St. George in the 90s. For Saturday in St. George, 93 and windy, blowing dust possible. Mid 80s starting next week on Monday. For the Wasatch Front, low 80s for Friday, close to 80 through this upcoming weekend. By Monday, partly cloudy and 77. We'll talk more about that chance for some thunderstorms this weekend coming up in the next full forecast.
The clock is ticking when it comes to getting your taxes in order. What you need to know before you file and why you should not expect your returns right away.
From addressing mental health and affordable housing to the inland port and masks in schools, some big tasks are ahead for Utah lawmakers as they get ready for a special session on Capitol Hill. We'll break it all down for you.
A major narcotics distribution pipeline cut off here in Utah. I'm Brian Schnee in Salt Lake City with a look at the drugs that were taken off the streets and how much they were worth. Coming up.
In today's Money Watch, the deadline to file your taxes is almost here.
That's coming up quickly. Circle on your calendar next Monday, May 17th. It is the new tax day, the official deadline this year for individuals to file their 2020 federal tax return. That is a month later than usual because of the pandemic, but don't expect your refund anytime soon. An unusually large backlog right now of returns from 2019 still, as well as 2020, are being processed and they're likely to be delayed. The IRS also says it is taking longer to process mailed documents, such as paper tax returns and related correspondence. Most states have also extended tax deadlines to May 17th, so that's for your state returns.
McDonald's is raising pay at its 650 company-owned stores in the U.S. Average pay will go up to $13 an hour in the coming months and will rise to $15 by 2024. Entry-level workers will make at least $11 an hour. Shift managers will make at least $15.
The burger chain Shake Shack is expanding in the suburbs. We have a few here in Utah. Shake Shack's CEO hopes to open up 50 new company-owned locations this year, more weighted to suburban sites, which have been rebounding more quickly than urban locations throughout the pandemic. Shake Shacks are also reopening at airports and baseball stadiums. There are 2 locations in Utah. I know I've been to one, the one in Sandy, the other is in Murray.
Speaking of rebounding, stocks rebounded today after fears of inflation earlier this week. The Dow finished up 434 points to close at 34,021. That's its best performance since late March. The Nasdaq tacked on 93. The S&P gained 49, logging its best day since early April.
A major drug distribution ring that trafficked narcotics from Mexico into Utah has now been taken down. Coming up, find out how the feds did it.
Plus, the West Jordan Police Department needs your feedback, how they want you to weigh in.
From ending mask mandates to spending $1.5 billion, your elected lawmakers are about ready to get pretty busy.
We do not tolerate drugs in our society. We don't want them here.
There was a major drug takedown for law enforcement in Utah. Pounds and pounds of illegal drugs were taken off the street.
Brian Schnee reports on the hours federal, state, and local investigators spent on the case.
More than 20 people have been federally charged for their involvement in a narcotics distribution ring that brought drugs from Mexico to numerous cities along the Wasatch Front. An investigation into illegal drug activity began in July of 2020 and wrapped up last week.
This type of investigation, this specific investigation, is significant for the District of Utah and for the FBI in Salt Lake.
After a 10-month-long investigation, officers seized 27 pounds of meth, 4 pounds of fentanyl, 2 pounds of heroin, 22 pounds of cocaine, 2 firearms, and more than $415,000 in cash.
It's approximately 25,000 doses.
To have this size of a drug takedown in our district is significant.
Here's a look at where some of the people indicted are from. 17 of the 21 people involved in this ring are in the state of Utah. Those tracking the movement of these drugs say they originate from Mexico.
It adds a level of difficulty in apprehending them and rendering them back to the United States for prosecution.
While this pipeline into Utah is stopped,
there are customers here who will purchase the illegal narcotics, so the narcotics distributors will go to where there's customers.
Again, a major takedown for federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies, ultimately getting all of these drugs off of the street. The FBI valued these drugs that were seized at more than $1.5 million. In Salt Lake City, Brian Schnee, Fox 13 News, Utah.
On Utah's Capitol Hill today, masks in school will be on the agenda in a special session of the legislature next week.
Lawmakers will also spend $1.5 billion in federal COVID-19 relief. Fox 13's Ben Winslow explains it all.
Your elected lawmakers will have a lot of money to spend, and they've got some big issues to tackle. They're also taking up some potentially controversial bills.
Try to make sure that we keep our economy going, and we also deal with the growth that's here.
Republican legislative leaders are figuring out what to spend more than $1.5 billion in federal COVID relief money on. With Utah's economy looking very hot, some are worried about overheating it.
We're going to set some of it aside until we have more information about where the economy is heading.
With all that money, legislative leaders say they want to have generational impact and a statewide benefit.
Legislators do respond to their constituents. So let's make sure that constituents are being heard, because really, I think people forget that government is for you and by you.
A coalition of community advocacy groups are pushing lawmakers to address affordable housing and mental health treatment.
This isn't a Salt Lake problem. This is a statewide problem. How are we going to address it if not with this funding?
That's actually on the minds of the House Speaker and Senate President. But there's other needs too, including support for businesses impacted by COVID-19.
Schools and getting them ready for the fall. We're going to put money into water. Water is a big need for the state.
We'd like to spend more money on broadband because of the fact that we're seeing that the advantages during the pandemic, but also I think that's something Zoom meetings will probably continue after the pandemic.
And your elected lawmakers are considering dozens of bills, including some controversial ones involving the inland port and the mask mandate in schools.
We will be discussing whether or not masks will be allowed in or required in schools in the fall at our universities as well as our public schools. I suspect that a bill that will not make that mandatory will pass.
Lawmakers are getting flooded with emails and calls opposing critical race theory. It's the idea that systemic racism is a part of American society. It's not taught in Utah schools, but some conservative groups want to ensure it's banned.
We don't have consensus on whether or not that's something that we'll be taking up.
And the special session of the Utah State Legislature is scheduled to take place on May 19th. On the Hill, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The Utah Democratic Party has published a look back at what it did wrong in the 2020 election.
That's right. The state's minority party was expected to pick up seats in the legislature and hold on to the 4th congressional district. Instead, it got one new seat on Capitol Hill, and Democrat Ben McAdams is no longer in Congress.
The report the party just made public says it should have provided resources earlier and been more proactive in on-the-ground situations. Some county parties were unaware they could tap into money and felt state party leaders were absent and non-communicative. The Democratic Party says it will build on the feedback for the next election cycle.
There is some big news in Cache County today. The Environmental Protection Agency says the county has now achieved attainment of federal air pollution standards. That part of the state has been out of compliance since 2019. It's been a while. This is really a big deal because it means that PM 2.5 levels have dropped. The Cache Valley has been notoriously bad for inversions in the winters and ozone levels in the summer.
West Jordan police want to know how people they serve can be better served, how they could improve. Essentially, it is a one-question questionnaire. Many are being sent by mail. But next week, business cards will be distributed with a QR code to scan so you can take the survey. Many of the cards will go to people who have received tickets or citations.
I still believe that the majority of people in our community support their local police. But I also believe that they support the police in a way that they want to express their feelings and thoughts about policing. And we need to be engaging with those folks in a two-way dialogue. This is just a method for us to do that.
The police chief understands some people will be skeptical about this program, but he says he really wants to hear the feedback. This kicks off at the beginning of next week.
The Utah Highway Patrol is training all first responders how to properly respond to traffic incidents. They conducted a mock rollover incident today. It highlighted what they say is the new and improved multi-agency response to crashes on Utah roads.
You're not safe if you run in right away and start doing CPR on someone and you leave the scene unsecure for more people to get hurt. You're going to end up having more casualties and creating those secondary crashes that we want to avoid.
The Incident Management Coalition is the first of its kind here in Utah.
Eating dinner as a family could keep your children from underage drinking. Members of the Utah legislature, the DABC, and Parents Empowered held a dinner table discussion at a Macy's and Holiday today. Research indicates children, teens who feel close to their parents are much less likely to drink.
Build those relationships with them so that when they are teens and they're faced with making sometimes these really hard social decisions, they feel like they have a safety net or someone they can trust and someone that can help them out.
The roundtable also stressed the importance of doing things with your children that they enjoy for at least 15 minutes a day.
Still to come, Amazon wants to bring a lot more jobs to Utah. The incentive they have in store for prospective hires.
And it's another sign of Utah's rebound from the pandemic. Find out about the events coming soon to the Gateway in downtown Salt Lake City.
And it was a nice morning here across the state, but this afternoon it's hot. We also have a few showers that are developing. However, this is just the beginning of our unsettled weather. I'll let you know what you can expect this upcoming weekend. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Good evening, everyone. Do you like your neighbors? I hope so. A new survey shows Utahns give their neighbors high marks for friendliness. Specifically, Utah had the 5th highest rating after Hawaii, Wyoming, Kansas, and South Dakota. Washington, D.C., they had the worst rating for friendly neighbors, followed by Rhode Island and New Hampshire. The company RTA Outdoor Living surveyed at least 30 people in each state, so it was a small sampling. RTA markets patio grills and fireplaces, so they asked about outdoor parties. 40% of respondents said they are beginning to plan neighborhood parties and social gathering restrictions as they ease. They say bring on the block parties.
Amazon is planning to hire thousands of workers at their fulfillment centers, with some of those jobs coming to Salt Lake City. This morning, the company announced 1,400 jobs are coming to the Utah Center. They're also offering a $100 bonus for any new employee who comes to the company already vaccinated. Those who aren't vaccinated can take part in one of the company's on-site voluntary vaccination events. After a year of scaled back and canceled events, the Gateway in downtown Salt Lake City is welcoming back festivals, concerts, and other events.
They say they're ready. Some of those include workout classes, including Pilates on the plaza, also goat yoga. That starts this month. Sounds like fun. The outdoor urban flea market is back through October, and the Chalk Art Festival is back in June, as is Festa Italiana.
Events bring community. These shared experiences, they have been sorely missed, I think, for everybody, and very much so for our merchants here. We are an entertainment destination. We have a lot of entertainment experiences like Dreamscapes and the Clark Planetarium and all of these great museums and restaurants. And so having these events here is a real keystone part of what we do.
Safety measures will still be in place. Masks will be required at events, and hand sanitizing stations are set up around the Gateway as well. For a full list of events happening this year at the Gateway, go to fox13now.com.
You may have heard about it. It was a shortage of bikes first, and now shops do not have enough parts to fix all the bicycles. Still ahead, what's behind the parts shortage and how shops are getting creative.
The Pac-12 has a new commissioner. He'll tell us his top 3 priorities coming up in sports. And the Jazz could face the Lakers in the first round. It could happen. William McDonough will share his thoughts on their possible first-round matchup.
The pandemic fueled a biking boom last year. A staggering $4.1 billion worth of bikes were sold in the United States.
But now bike parts are becoming incredibly difficult to find. And as Chris Conti shows us, it has left some bike shops spinning their wheels.
There are not enough hours in the day for Chris O'Neill.
We're so busy that we can't answer the phone.
Chris is a mechanic at Bike Boom in Somerville, Massachusetts, a store where business has quite literally been booming.
Days when you close down at 7, but you really don't leave until, 8 or 8:30 because you're trying to help people out, trying to get them out the door.
For the last year or so, demand for bikes across the country has been unprecedented. With gyms closed and Americans looking to get outdoors, bike sales have taken off. Problem is, there's just not enough of them.
The bicycle industry was toilet papered. So everyone snatched up all the inexpensive bikes.
But something else is now happening. There are not enough bike parts out there to fix all the bikes that need fixing.
The biggest impact I would say right now is how long people are waiting for parts.
One of the hardest parts for Chris to get is a cassette, that piece on the back of a tire that helps a bike shift gears. As soon as suppliers get them in, they're usually gone within minutes.
We could probably hire someone full-time to watch just our distributors of what comes in and what goes out on a daily basis.
As a result, mechanics like Chris are having to make older parts last much longer. So what's happening? For an answer to that question, we turn to Eric Bjorling, Director of Brand Marketing for Trek.
There are more bikes coming into the United States than at any other time in the history of the industry and the history of the country.
The problem is with the supply chain and shipments of available parts globally. There are just not enough parts being manufactured around the world to keep up with demand. It can take as many as 50 different suppliers to make one bike.
That one supplier, let's say for like a pedal or a spindle in a pedal that makes it turn, is having issues. It really can cause a ripple effect throughout the industry.
All of this worries someone like Eric because bike companies like Trek are hoping to seize this moment. With more Americans biking, the hope is they'll be able to push more cities across the country to be more bike friendly, leading to less cars on the road post-pandemic.
What can we do with cities, municipalities, infrastructure? What can we actually do there to actually not make this thing so much of a bike boom, but actually a return to a more sustainable transportation model?
Even with the pandemic hopefully nearing an end, the bike industry is still very much taking off. I'm Chris Conti.
Boy, nice bike riding weather here in the state of Utah today.
Can't get much better.
Yes, so let's talk about today. Hot today, obviously. We're going to have warm temperatures over the next couple of days, but I wanted to just quickly talk about our pattern heading into this upcoming season since our La Nina pattern has ended officially. It's the weather pattern that can occur in the Pacific Ocean every few years. We were in a La Nina over the winter, but now heading into summer, we're going to have neutral conditions through at least summer. It is unclear what will happen after this summer heading into next fall and winter, but as far as the summer goes, a La Nina or an El Nino can have a huge impact on the U.S. hurricane season. So El Nino and La Nina are both the extreme phases of that ENSO cycle, but we're going to have that neutral condition through the summer, and then heading into this fall and winter, we'll see what we're going to shift into. But for right now here in Salt Lake City, it's 83 degrees. It's still hot outside. Our wind is gusting about 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow here across Salt Lake City, temperatures will be in the upper 50s first thing when you wake up, and then you're into the 70s by 10 a.m. 77 at noon tomorrow and into the 80s during the afternoon. So morning will be very comfortable. Here across the state today, we have the sunshine early in the day. This evening, we do have a few clouds clouds that are developing, bringing us some spotty showers. Capitol Reef, Delta up through Ely, up through Wendover, spotty showers. And then into tomorrow, our best chance for thunderstorms to develop will be near the Idaho border, near Bear Lake, and then up into northeastern Utah and southwestern Wyoming. Temperatures currently, though, on this Thursday afternoon, it's around 80 to 85 for almost all of you. These temperatures are above average, but not quite into record territory. 72 is an average high this time of year, and today we've made it into the low 80s. Beautiful view out to Albion Basin, clear sky currently, and our temperatures the next couple of days will be pretty consistent, plus or minus about 5 degrees. So we'll be around 75 to 85 degrees here heading through the next 5 days, and I am tracking that chance for pop-up showers the next few afternoons. So this will be through tomorrow morning, that chance for spotty showers northeastern Utah near the Idaho border. Then again come tomorrow afternoon across northern Utah, and then we have better chances for showers and thunderstorms to develop on Saturday and Sunday again here across the state. So overnight temps will be around 50 to 60 first thing for your Friday morning tomorrow, and then by Friday afternoon by 5 o'clock those temperatures will still be around 80 to 90 here across the state. St. George, you are warm and windy on Saturday, 93 degrees there, and you're going to see some areas of blowing dust, especially second half of the day and into Saturday night. Mid 80s for Sunday, mid 80s heading into Monday as well. Overnight temperatures pretty comfortable, around 60 to 65 for St. George over the next week. For the Wasatch Front, low 80s tomorrow, 79 for Saturday. We do have that chance for scattered and pop-up showers and thunderstorms the next couple of afternoons. So I know that it's not showing up on the icons right here, just the majority of the day will be nice, but we're going to have that chance for some of those to develop, especially during the afternoon hours. By Monday, 77, close to 80 by next Tuesday.
The Pac-12 Conference has a new commissioner, George Kliavkoff. He was unknown to most people in college athletics since he has no college experience. He's the president of entertainment of sports at MGM Resorts International, with previous stops at places like Major League Baseball and NBC Universal. Said he wants to have a listening tour with Pac-12 athletic directors and coaches when he starts his job on July 1st.
I want to be very clear about my top 3 immediate priorities for the conference. First, we will protect and support our student athletes. Second, we will make decisions to optimize revenue for our member institutions, including renegotiating our media distribution deals. And third, we will do everything we can at the conference level to make our teams more competitive in revenue-generating sports, especially football. To support all 3 of these priorities, I want to go on the record that the Pac-12 is in favor of both the expansion of the college football playoffs to more teams and the implementation of consistent guidelines for name, image, and likeness.
Utah Athletic Director Mark Harlan said in a statement he is confident that Commissioner Kliavkoff will ensure that the Pac-12 is a national leader in shaping college athletics for years to come and help the conference cement its position as the nation's premier athletic conference. Imagine getting the #1 seed in the NBA playoffs and having to play the defending champion Lakers in the first round. That could happen to the Jazz. Jazz can clinch the top seed in the West by winning their final 2 games against Oklahoma and Sacramento. It's looking like the Lakers could be in that play-in tournament, battling for the 7th and 8th seed.
It's going to be pretty good teams in the play-in tournament, so we got to secure #1 spot. We got to still have 2 games. We got to win both of them, and then we're gonna see after that who we're gonna play. But whoever we play is gonna be a tough matchup.
The former BYU Cougar Elijah Bryant has signed a deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. Spent the last 2 seasons playing with Maccabi Tel Aviv and Israel. Went undrafted in the 2018 NBA draft, but did play the Summer League with the Philadelphia 76ers and the Bucks. A Corner Canyon quarterback, Jackson Dart, is one of 3 contenders for the Gatorade National Football Player of the Year. Led the Chargers to the state championship last season, and he'll play college football at USC. We'll be right back.
Such a nice day. Man, if you haven't had the opportunity to go outside yet, there is still time, because the evening is going to be just as nice. Beautiful blue skies as we take a live look from our Ochre Mountain camera. You know, I don't mind doing yard work when I get to be out in the mornings enjoying the weather. It doesn't make it as bad.
No,
sure.
And that stroll tonight is going to be wonderful. So get out there and do it if you can.
Yeah. Enjoy your dinner. Have a great night. And we hope to see you back here at 9 p.m.
Bye-bye.